Hello and welcome. This is QTV News. We are coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thank you for joining us. I am Mumudu Kajiga. First, a look at our main news headlines. The Minister for Information, Lamin Queen Jammeh, on Wednesday reiterated government's commitment to guaranteeing freedom of speech and access to information. The Ministry of Finance, represented by the Minister of Public Service, presented the 2019 Auditor General's report to the National Assembly on Tuesday. World Rabies Day, held annually on September 28, was commemorated on by the Gambia Horse and Donkeys Trust and partners. And in international news, central London's historic Trafalgar Square is set to get a new statue of Pan-African icon John Chilemwe, who fought against British colonial rule in Malawi. And in sports news, the Gambia have been knocked out by Burkina Faso in the Africa Cup of Nations Under-23 qualifiers after losing the second home leg 2-1 and 2-2 on aggregate. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is the QTV News. The Minister for Information, Lamin Queen Jammeh, on Wednesday reiterated government's commitment to guaranteeing freedom of speech and access to information. He was speaking on the International Day for Universal Access to Information. In relation to that, the GPU urged government to accelerate effort to make the Access to Information Bill operational. Anzwane Sonyasi has more.
Celebrated on the 28th of September, the International Universal Day on Access to Information was proclaimed on 15th October 2019 at the 74th UN General Assembly. Initially designated by the UNESCO General Conference, the day was first held on 28 September 2016. In an interview with QTV on the significance of the day, Lamin Queen Jammeh, Gambia's Minister for Information, says the day presents an opportunity for stock-taking on the challenges and progress registered on access to information in the Gambia, adding that the enactment of the ATI bill shows government's commitment to strengthening freedom of speech and access to information.
In the spirit of this, I salute the whole world for the recognition, and specifically congratulate His Excellency President Adama Barrow, who is also a champion in this respect, that the government of the Gambia have had the political will and has put into law this that the day guarantees, that is access to information, which guarantees players and the citizenry that so long as they are interested, they shall be able to access information.
Meanwhile, he also urged journalists and the public to make good use of the freedoms as guaranteed by the Constitution and other laws such as the ATI bill, and avoid using these guaranteed freedoms to cause trouble. Mohamed Esba, president of the Gambia Press Union, says the day is highly significant as it serves as a reminder of the importance of information and how it impacts our lives. And while he commends government for showing political will to support, he however cites several instances which he says proves that there is growing need to make the ATI bill, which is now an act, operational.
So this day is very significant. That is why, as GPU, as the Gambia Press Union, we are going to celebrate. We are going to observe this day in October 12th, and our theme is the state of preparedness for the operationalization of the Access to Information 2021.
The GPU president emphasizes that making the bill operational is in the national interest, arguing that it is in fact to government's advantage.
Implement the law, it will help to bring more transparency. It will help to bring participatory governance. It will help to create more awareness. Citizens will know their responsibilities.
Universal access to information means that everyone has the right to seek, receive, and impart information. This right is an integral part of the right to freedom of expression. The media plays a crucial role in informing the public about issues of interest, but it relies on the ability to seek and receive information too. Hence, the right to universal access to freedom is also bound up with the right to the freedom of the press. Answane Sonyasi for KTV News.
The Ministry of Finance, represented by the Minister of Public Service, has presented the 2019 Auditor General's report to the National Assembly on Tuesday. This is in line with the provision of the Gambia Constitution, which requires government to submit for a legislative oversight on government's audited accounts. Umudlamin Choi reports.
The Auditor General has completed his auditing of public accounts of the Gambia for the year ended December 2019, and it has been presented to the National Assembly as required by the Constitution. The report is being presented to the Assembly by the Minister of Public Service, Babukar Ojuf, on behalf of the Finance Minister.
The financial statements consist of accounts that are under the control of the Accountant General's Department and do not include full transactions of the state-owned enterprises, self-accounting projects, and local governments. These entities are audited separately by external auditors through the Office of the Auditor General.
The Auditor General is mandated by law to audit and report on the public accounts of the Gambia and submit the report to the National Assembly. The report is prepared accordingly.
The financial statements comprise of the following: consolidated statements of cash receipts and payments, that is internal public sector accounting standards, statements of revenue and expenditure, that is the consolidated fund, detailed revenue and expenditure comparison, accounting policies and explanatory notes. The financial statements also contain additional statements as required by Section 63 of the Public Finance Act 2014 and Part 2 of the Cash Basis IPSAS.
In the Auditor General's report, there are audit findings, queries, and recommendations on government's financial expenditure and management. The purpose for auditing and the presentation of the Auditor General's report to the Assembly is to ensure transparency and accountability in the expenditure and management of public funds and resources.
Issues raised by the Auditor General and actions taken to remedy them. Honorable Speaker, government has taken necessary measures to address the issues arising from the audit of the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019. Details of the actions taken are provided in the management letter of the Auditor General. Additional information / documents and further clarifications on the unresolved issues are being collated and will be shared with the National Audit Office. Government financial statements have been prepared and audited up to 2019. The audit of 2020 government financial statements is currently ongoing. The 2021 financial statements have been prepared and submitted to the National Audit Office for audit. We continue to strive towards maintaining in-ear reporting where the Auditor General can perform continuous audit of government activities.
For effective oversight, the Auditor General's 2019 report on the financial statement of government has been referred to the Finance and Public Accounts Committee for detailed scrutiny. During the process, the committee will conduct hearings for testimonies from witnesses and consider evidence for detailed scrutiny and report back to plenary. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, World Rabies Day, held annually on September 28, was commemorated on Wednesday by the Gambia Horse and Donkeys Trust in collaboration with the Gambia Animal Welfare Advocates Association. Loli M. Camara witnessed the exercise and see now reports.
The theme for this year's World Rabies Day is Rabies, One Health, Zero Deaths, which aims to raise awareness of rabies prevention and enhance control efforts worldwide. The day is observed on September 28 because it marks the anniversary of the death of Louis Pasteur, the French chemist and microbiologist who developed the first successful rabies vaccine. The event was held at several communities across the country. At the Bakau Community Center, one of the free vaccination centers for dogs, Lang Baba Sise, the general manager of Horse and Donkeys Trust, said over the years, many people have found it difficult to bring their dogs to be vaccinated. With collaborative efforts with partners, he says a lot has been achieved. Even after the vaccination today, vaccines will always be available, he added.
Now people are aware of it now, and they are contributing a lot, because if you check even back out here where we are now, we have a lot of dogs here and Birikama and other different places. So now we understand that people are aware of this disease and they are willing to bring their dogs to see they have this vaccination.
Dr. Keba Dafe, advisor to the Animal Welfare Advocates Association, states how the day is being commemorated.
It is commemorated by free mass anti-rabies vaccination as the one you see happening here. Similar vaccination activities are taking place at Birikama, at Gunjur, at Brufut, at Sambelkunda, at Eseu, at Amdalai, and Makasader, and other places around the country. And in those events, everywhere you go, the dogs will be provided with free anti-rabies vaccine as well as treatment against endo and ectoparasites.
According to Dr. Dafe, the preventable disease kills about 59,000 people worldwide.
The disease has no cure. Certainly, when signs and rabies exhibit in either dog or human, the consequence is death. Nobody has ever got rabies and got cured. So that is why prevention is so important, and this day is more about prevention and creating awareness that this disease is preventable, though it's a deadly disease.
Hector Armstrong, director of the Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust, says her organization, in collaboration with the Department of Livestock Services, bought about 900 doses of rabies vaccines to be used across the country. She then gave some advice to dog owners.
Please come. You're helping yourself, you're helping your children, you're helping your dog, and you're helping your community. So please get your dogs vaccinated. Such a simple thing, free of charge, and you're helping everybody.
Momodu Dumbuya, president of the Gambia Animal Welfare Advocates Association, stated that they will continue to advocate for the welfare of animals in ensuring that no animal dies of rabies. Though fatal, rabies is preventable by administering vaccines and appropriate use of technology. These stakeholders are advising the public to get their dogs vaccinated. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamal.
We will now take a short commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local, international, and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Bank from here and there and here too, here and even here. Introducing the Bloom Digital Suite from Bloom Bank Africa, web and mobile banking that allows you to bank on the go at your convenience and on your own terms. Check and transfer funds, pay NAWIC bills, buy cash power, buy mobile credit, and so much more. For more information, visit www.bloombankafrica.com or pass by any of our branches nationwide. Download from the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Bloom Digital Web and Mobile Banking on the go from Bloom Bank Africa.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is QTV News. The Evangelical Lutheran Church of the Gambia, in partnership with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in the United States of America, has donated food and other essentials to flood victims in the West Coast region. Babakar Sise reports.
The Evangelical Lutheran Church visited over 13 villages in the West Coast region and distributed bags of rice, sugar, onions, and gallons of oil and cartons of soap to flood-affected families who were left devastated by the flash floods. It was a happy moment for these beneficiaries, most of whom said the gesture came as a pleasant surprise to them. Bishop Samuel Simeon Thomas of the Evangelical Lutheran Church said since the establishment of the church in the Gambia in 2000, they have been supporting several communities. He explains the reason for the donation.
As a church, when it comes to disaster, everyone is involved, and the government alone cannot do it. So as a church, we are there to supplement a government's effort to make sure where government cannot reach, we can also reach there to our people.
The Reverend Augustine Casey of the Evangelical Lutheran Church says the church is out to help humanity, and such help is not based on religion.
If you look at our religion, it is mostly not dealing with those that you are having at hand, but to help people who are suffering. And this is what Christ has been doing in his ministry. He reached to those people, even those who are poor. They don't have what to eat, he gives them, regardless of their religion.
Lamin Demba, a beneficiary, thanked the donors for helping the flood victims without discrimination.
Because what they are doing it for humanity. And we are all human beings. They don't look whether we are Christian
Muslim
or Muslim.
Any religion.
We are not here for any religion. We said we are here for humanity.
Other beneficiaries also have this to say.
The
man told me you are coming, and I waited. This house collapsed last year, and this one too collapsed this year. I am so happy about the donation. We are very happy. We appreciated what you gave us. Thank you so much. Aisatu lives in a mud house. She says her family is poor and couldn't afford a good house. She and her children are now being lodged by other family members. I heard a loud noise, and when I came out, my neighbor told me that part of my house has collapsed. I thank the church for helping us, this woman said. Reverend Fatima Bass, the social services representative at the Evangelical Lutheran Church, explained some of the projects they have provided for communities and what the church intends to do next.
We gave water to Kitty Village here and also in Sifo. And another project that followed was women livelihood. And we called women to come and collect some money in the church at Kembuje to take it to support for themselves. We have another project that is coming, that is phase 2, which is about the people who were affected by the flood.
According to Reverend Bass, the church is now planning to buy cement for the victims to start reconstruction of their houses destroyed by the flash floods caused by torrential rains. Babakar Sise, QTV News.
Now, a community-led organization called Basse Development Initiative in Basse Santoso installed 20 solar street lamps costing $200,000 around the vicinity of the Basse Central Mosque to brighten the area for worshippers visiting the mosque. Alhaji A.F. Jallo attended the handing over ceremony, and he now filed in this report.
Basse Development Initiative, a community-led organization, was established to help the needy and underprivileged communities within the region. The organization has recently installed 20 solar street lamps around the central mosque and the surrounding area of Basse Wharf Town. The project, after it became clear many worshippers to the Basse Central Mosque to perform Fajr prayers, has stopped attending due to the darkness of the area. The chairman of the association, Ahmad Jao, said that in response to a request they received from the elders of Basse, their organization collected the funds to respond to the needs of their people.
Basse Development Initiative thought it would be very necessary to have this kind of project, especially around the mosque. This is the central mosque, as you can see, and it's very dark in the streets at night. And there are some elderly people, they are scared to come to pray Fajr because it's dark. We thought of this idea, having these lamp poles in the back streets so that it will brighten the area and make life easy for the people. This is the reason why Basse Development Initiative was formed. The natives of Basse in the Gambia and in the diaspora sat down and thought it necessary to come together and devise a plan to be able to help the Basse community. Not only Basse, but the whole region.
The ground coordinator and a beneficiary, Boy Barry, expressed his delight over the project. He said that the nightmare of not visiting the house of Allah is now over.
It is a happy day. Seeing lighting around this vicinity of Basse, where it is always dark. You can see our street lights are no more working. And then this is the central mosque of Basse. And then access to it during the night is always a problem. So if BDI should come up with this good initiative, we are saying thank you to them.
Dauda Nenegale Jallo, a native of Basse who was awarded the contract to install the solar lamps, says the association did the right thing in awarding them the contract, thus empowering youths in the community. He also added that people should now shift their attention to solar energy, as that is one way to mitigate the effects of climate change.
I think I would say I'm over the moon, because looking at this project, it's native of Basse, trying to help native of Basse, and then implemented by natives of Basse. So this is something that now we've got the technical know-how, we've got the equipment, we've got the resources to be able to implement this kind of projects. Solar Gambia is here to do the difference, because we've implemented in other parts of the country, and now we are here in our own region to implement these projects. We are just over the moon.
The importance of giving back to society can be understated. When you give back, you can better the lives of people around you. This initiative and others like it will significantly improve the lives of the people in the community. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alhaji A.F. Jallo.
The end of that story by Alhaji A.F. Jallo from Basse, Texas to international news. Central London's historic Trafalgar Square is set to have a new statue that to name an icon, that is a Pan-African icon, John Chilemwe, who fought against British colonial rule in Malawi, and more in this story.
An unknown figure to many, Chilemwe is and should a better known icon as one of those to set the path for Africa's independence movements, according to historians. In this regard, a 5-meter statue will mark the first of an African in Trafalgar Square to honor and tell his story. Cast in bronze, Antelope, as the sculpture is called, restages a famous photograph taken in 1914 of Chilemwe, standing next to British missionary John Charlie, outside his church in Bomwe village in southern Malawi. The 5-meter statue towering over Charlie, designed by Malawian-born artist Samsi Kambalu, who designed the piece to deliberately make Chilemwe much larger than Charlie. The Malawian Baptist preacher and Pan-Africanist John Chilemwe was born in the early 1970s and grew up in the southern Malawi's Chirazulu district. Born during colonial era and influenced by Scottish missionaries who went to Malawi, Chilemwe traveled to the U.S., where he studied theology in Virginia. During his stay, he witnessed the struggles of African Americans during the Reconstruction, which is what the period immediately after the abolition of slavery is known as. A few years later, he returned to his motherland to tackle the colonial injustices he saw there. He formed an anti-colonial resistance and met his death in 1915. Although the uprising he led was short-lived, Chilemwe is widely acknowledged as one of the first Africans to fight against colonial injustices in the 20th century. According to British newspaper accounts of the time, Chilemwe is alleged to have led a raid on a British plantation, beheaded a British man and put his head on display during a church service. A few years later, he was shot dead by African soldiers working for the British, while trying to cross into what is now Mozambique. His fight against colonizers is believed to have influenced several figures of black liberation, including Jamaican political activist Marcus Garvey and John Dube, the founding president of what would become the African National Congress ANC in South Africa. Since 2003, the fourth plinth has showcased different pieces of artwork every 2 years. While it was originally intended to display a statue of King William IV, it remained empty due to insufficient funds and now exhibits temporary arts, selected through public consultations and the commissioning group. This statue is certain to raise Chilemwe's profile and have people researching his story, which is exactly what the sculpture hopes will be the case. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Well, we apologize in the build-up to that story. A little bit of mixed up there about John Chilemwe, who fought against British colonial rule. Well, this sculpture is going to be at the Trafalgar Square. It's going to be the fourth plinth, which is regarded as one of the world's most famous public art commission that is at the Trafalgar Square. That's the story that Ajibintu Drame read to you there. That's it for QTV News. Thank you very much for watching. Join us at 10 for another bulletin.